Oobah, it'd be great to find out, do creators still crave a TV commission? If they've got success on digital channels, like, why would they want to be on telly?
I think quality, right? I think for me, it's like, it depends what kind of creator you are, for one. I think if you're like trying to build, like, do you want to make the best work possible was always the question for me. And it was like, yes. So yes, that is, I think television still for me, because I think the quality of the work is still best. And I feel like if you can work with these people who can open things up for you, the problem is just money, right? It's just money. That's actually the problem. And TV still does have a shitload more money. And if you didn't grow up with money and all that stuff, then, you know, if you can decide to take 3 or 4 years off to try and grow a channel, if you don't have any jeopardy in your life. But like, if, you know, TV, what it does is there is still a model where someone can come forward and go, all right, you know, here's this amount of money to work on this thing. Yeah, in the pursuit of the best quality possible, I think that, yeah, of course people want to be on television. You'd be a better person to ask for this probably because you work with more people. I wanted to be on television. I'm really happy to have the chance to do it now.
Make your family proud, make your...
Yeah, it's, yeah, I mean, it's also just like an actual, like the thing that I was thinking about earlier is like, ITV and Channel 4 actually making money off YouTube?
Yes.
Like loads. I know Amelia definitely is, but like, like enough to stay in Channel, like, does it work?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a really, I'm not sort of struggling with this, but it's quite a nuanced question, but like, look, if we're shooting stuff over here, long form 4 episodes, and we're putting it over here, then we're making money. If we weren't putting it in a few different places, if it was going straight on YouTube, we're spending £1 million on a show and it's getting 1 million views. Like, you're not going to make that money back. Yeah,
we did it with the Amazon film we did. We put it out, obviously it came out linear here and did that classic sort of thing and whatever. Sold to about 5 or 6 different territories. No one in the US bought it, so I did a shit deal with Vice, who I used to work with a lot. Where I was like, let's do an ad split, whatever, let's just get it out. And it came out and it did, absolutely smashed it. Went to the front page of Reddit, went viral, and that opened up opportunities then to work. Like, so it's like, that was like, yes, we're going to give this to YouTube because I didn't even expect anything back almost, do you know what I mean? I was like, I didn't know what I was, definitely expect something back in terms of like the viewers. That's actually really important, the cultural cachet. But like, literally like, if you'd have sold it to any channel in the US, you'd have made a
cash on the table.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so, I think like money is obviously incredibly important. You're not just gonna like create something, put it on YouTube, and like go hope for the best. But I think thinking creatively about how you make money off content now is such a massive deal or massive part of everyone's strategy. So, you know, whether it's merchandise, whether it's test running a format and developing an audience and then selling it onto a brand partner, whether it's then aiming for that broadcaster commission, it'd be actually really interesting to just quickly go around and find out like, how do you monetize YouTube content?
Well, obviously there's lots of different ways that you can monetize the content. Obviously, the first things first is once you've built your audience and you've got that initial sort of healthy audience that can bring in the views, you can generate money off of the AdSense. And then once you've built something, I think then you really need to work on the community engagement, building a fan base around whatever it is that you've developed, making sure that you've got an audience that is truly engaged with what you're doing. And then there's, you know, merchandising that you can launch, brand partnerships that you can wrap around it. You may choose to then exploit the IP and work with a more traditional broadcaster. Or the other thing that a lot of channels are doing really well is then looking into sort of alternate revenue streams such as Patreon. I think for that, the key there is having something where you've got a really engaged audience that will follow you obviously behind that paywall, and often that comes from the personality, like are they really connected to that personality, or have you built something that's got a clearly identifiable enough tone and brand that then they will follow it elsewhere. So those are the sort of first areas that I would look to.
How would you make money on YouTube?
How do you make money on YouTube? Anyone got any ideas? No, because like when I've always worked with third parties, so I don't have my own channel. So I've always like worked with Vice, or now work with Channel 4, and like when I did Catfish or everything went on MTV, their YouTube. So for me, it's always been like live. So doing live opportunities, like that is actually a really sustainable way of growing an audience. You get exposure, and then you go and tour something. You know what I mean? Like that is like actually a very monetizable way of doing things.
So it's that, but also like digital broadcaster commissions, right? Like going to a commissioner and getting them to fund your content.
Yeah. But yeah, that's like, I suppose for my model or whatever, it's still just like, how do you make a piece of work that people are going to talk about, they're going to watch, is really fucking good, and then everything else hopefully follows. But like, I think then if you want to monetize that, then I think doing touring would be my suggestion.
All of that. And then on top of that, there's partner sales as you manage. If you've got the facility to do that, then that's a really good thing. And then I think more generally for the TV industry is looking at YouTube as another part of the windowing process. Because some shows, the rights remain, and you have to look at where the opportunity is. Because certain shows have a sort of shelf life, and they can be sold in traditional distribution ways in one way. And then you might have a deal to go that those rights are there for 3 years. But if the shelf life of the show is it's a documentary that has some resonance now, it might not be worth anything in 6 months, and you wouldn't be able to shift it. But then you can put it onto YouTube, and it might be able to find a different audience. So working closely with traditional TV distribution companies, whoever your distributor is, and with YouTube is a really great way of being able to find the right moment to put your show out. And if it's not getting it, if the sales teams are, they're going out and flogging it and they can't do it, they'll put it on YouTube. You might suddenly find that you get a really great hit.
Mairi? What's the best way that independent producers, I guess, can look to make money on your platform?
I guess the point is that, as we've heard from these answers, and I'm sure we'll hear from Sasha too, there are many different ways, and it will depend on the company's strategy and its assets. So there'll be some where YouTube is but a part of the strategy and has a lot of IP, and it's going to be all about extra distribution and archive and the incremental that it drives. There'll be others where the role that YouTube is playing is that it's about developing the new formats, the new ideas, the long-term growth. And there will be others where it's going to be about getting the feedback loop of what's working and what's not. So it will really vary. For some, shopping will be a really big driver, which you can do on YouTube. For others, it might be that there's a brand deal that's off platform, but YouTube helps unlock that because it gives you the exposure and the growth. And that, frankly, is kind of what makes my job interesting, because no two companies are following the same strategy. And also, hopefully, as users, it means that you're not getting the same content from everyone.
Sasha?
Rinsed all the good ideas. I mean, I guess, Oobah, like when you said, like, does Channel 4 make money? It's like diversifying revenue streams. Every single thing has a different objective, right? So one thing we've not spoken about is like branded content. That is a way where we've got an audience over here. Brands come to us, they want a piece of it. We make content that suits both areas. And we make money from that. Production companies make a lot of money from that as well. The other bit that I don't want to sort of like undermine are things that look rubbish on a spreadsheet now that could look amazing in the future. So like I'm sure when Sidemen sort of launched and they were making 2p a month, their strategy, if they had kind of like a business affairs person on their back saying like, right, we're spending all this money, but we're making kind of like nothing, it would be very easy to sort of shut that down. Cut to 7-8 years later and they're selling out stadiums and it's a different way of making money, and actually that content has got to a point where it's repeating and it's starting to monetize. So
Great.
That as well.
Just one last other thought is about data. That the information you can get about putting your show onto YouTube, and there are several times over the years we've been able to put shows onto YouTube, which has then ultimately led to a recommission. So if you're the only way you can make your very expensive drama isn't necessarily through YouTube, but you can use YouTube to bring it back, to bring an audience to it again, to refresh it. It's part of the life cycle of a show.
To test, iterate, and get feedback as well.